welcome to DudeCast TV, where I'm your host, Norman Dexter, and it's been a while. It's been about a year, and I have not uploaded Jack Diddley. And that mostly comes from me just focusing on other things, nothing bad, just enjoying myself. And that's going to continue to be the nature of this podcast. I do it for fun. I don't do it to be the next Joe Rogan. I've said that many, many times. I am here to just put my ideas into the world because it feels nice. Today, I will be talking about integrity and discipline and how bridging the two together will really give you something to look forward to each and every day. Because I feel like a lot of people will focus on those two things individually, but they don't realize how much they can coincide with really giving you a more, I don't want to say a positive outlook on life because I hate talking about that kind of shit, but they really do give you more of a purpose day to day. And I'll talk about the aspects of a motivated lifestyle, a disciplined lifestyle that honestly they don't give you as much fulfillment and purpose as you would think, and I'll get into that. But once again, this isn't scripted. This is just me thinking of a general topic and giving my thoughts and commentary on the topic. I might reference certain people, certain influencers, certain figures in particular industries or current events. We'll see. I don't know because, again, whatever comes out is what I think of in the moment. And that's how I prefer to do podcasting. I don't want to do anything scripted. So, but first and foremost, I do want to give a shout out to my buddy Mikey. I will be putting his Twitch information in the description because it's because of him that I'm doing this again. He's been exceedingly engaging and interactive on his social media. I've always loved the guy. He is doing really well with his streaming and his content creation, and he put out a post about 8 or 9 days ago asking how, hey, talking to my people, talking to my followers, talking to my friends on Facebook, what have you, how is your content creation going? And I didn't really have a good answer for him, so it inspired me to try this. I recorded a podcast last week, which I'm going to try and do these every single Monday just because I have Monday mornings off and I don't have anything else to do unless something pops up. But I do want to start doing these once a week, partially because they make me feel good and I've been aching to do one, but also I want to get back to this. But the reason I didn't post the one from last week because I was just rambling. Not doing this for a year, I kind of just fell out of it. This is my first recording of this one. Should be fine. I'm a lot more clear-headed this time, and I have an actual topic to go on. Last week, I was just really screaming into the void, and I have a couple of those posted, and they really aren't great. They're just me spewing bullshit out of my mouth hole. So, but thanks to Mikey for inspiring me to get back to this because I've missed it for sure. Now, integrity and discipline. So, discipline we'll start with. Oftentimes, you'll see it referred to in motivational speakers or in disciplining a child because they went and fucked up, they did something incorrect, and they're being disciplined by their parents or guardian. And that's the common use of the word. To me, discipline is a little bit different. To me, discipline is just, you don't think about it, you just do it. It's your daily habits. It's the things that you should be doing to keep you sane. Keeping your room clean, making sure your bed is made, your laundry is done, folded, put away. You brush your teeth every night. You have your food made and prepped for the day so you're not forgetting to eat or you're not grabbing fast food because you just didn't prep anything and so you're just grabbing some bullshit. Getting to sleep at a decent hour rather than stay up all night fucking around on YouTube, social media, or video games. You do what's necessary to make you feel good, to make you feel like you're a human being and not just some cog in the machine. We don't want to feel like those factory workers or these office workers that go to their 9 to 5, clock out, go to the bar, and then go home and pass out. Rinse, rather, repeat. See, that's that's death to me, at least. And so I've created my own routines and my own disciplines. Jocko Willink, retired Navy SEAL, who talks about extreme ownership, leadership, and discipline, particularly discipline equals freedom. He truly believes that if you remain disciplined, if you are to remain disciplined, then you will be free to do whatever you want with your life, which is true. But here comes the first thing that these individuals do not talk about. At least not that I'm aware of. Now, I don't consume all of their information, but I do consume a decent amount of the content that they create. And what I've noticed is they're talking about discipline, they're talking about the day-to-day, they're talking about the advantages of it, but they don't talk about the disadvantages. The disadvantages are when you're goal setting, as an example. Okay, what happens when you complete the goal? Oh, you set a new one. All right, cool. All right, so what about the big goal? What about the dream? Okay, so we'll use myself as an example. My dream is to build my own gym. My dream is to live in the gym. So, apartment out back, gym in front, one building, big building. I own it. It's mine. I'm not paying rent. I'm not beholden to somebody else. I work for myself. And that's happening. Sometime in the next year and a half, 2 years, I will have that. It's already being written up by an architect. Then what? I don't know. And that's the thing, you can't see the future. You don't know what you're going to be like when that time comes. But I ask people all the time, if money wasn't an option, if they didn't have to do what they do for work, what would you do with your life? And almost everybody goes, oh, I would travel. To which I say, okay, after 2 years of living in hotels, you're going to get pretty fucking sick of that shit. So then what? And they go, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. That's the question I'm asking. And so that's the disadvantage to leading a disciplined lifestyle, air quotes there, because I think that with discipline and with integrity together, you can find purpose day to day. Not the grand scheme of things. Not, oh, this is my new dream. This is my new goal. No. Discipline and integrity in a day-to-day process can keep you feeling fulfilled. You are actionably working towards something every day. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you eat your food, you make your coffee, you prep your food for the day, you get your plan set out, you go on your routine, you make your bed, you go to work, whatever. Whatever it is, whatever your routine, your ideal routine that makes you happy. Maybe it's you wake up, you make some coffee, and you go out and you sit in the yard and just enjoy your morning for an hour before you get going. Maybe you wake up super early, maybe you want to sleep in. I don't know your schedule. The key is day to day, if you have that routine, your daily disciplines, then you will feel like you've done something. You will feel fulfilled in your day. Rather than if you just lay in bed and beat your dick or flick your bean all day, that's not going to make you feel fulfilled. It'll honestly probably make you hate yourself. You will feel a lot of self-loathing and shame for the fact that you just laid in bed and masturbated all day. Every now and then, that's fine. But if you did that shit every day, you would not be having a very good time. It's the same thing with video games. It's the same thing with watching and binging movies and shows on Netflix. If you do too much of something you enjoy, it begins to get stale, it begins to get boring, and all of a sudden you self-loathe and hate yourself, and you don't physically feel good because you're not doing things that are helpful for your body. Now, in small amounts, again, moderation is key. A small amount of alcohol, a small amount of weed, a small amount of what have you, they are fine. They make you feel good. They amplify and accent your feelings of goodness and I had a great time and I'm enjoying myself, particularly when you're with other people. I mean, alcohol is ubiquitously known as a social lubricant, but too much and too often, your body's like, hey, fuckface, relax. Your liver's starting to fuck over, all right? So again, moderation, but if you maintain that baseline, fundamental, foundational routine of I'm going to get up, I'm going to make my bed, whatever. It doesn't have to be making your bed. Making your bed, okay, use it as an example because a lot of people know it. It's very common. My bed is right there and it is not fucking made. I don't give a shit if you make your fucking bed, okay? Just make sure that when somebody comes over, your space is not a complete fucking shit show, okay? You don't want a shit show when somebody comes over to see where you live. At least not most people. I don't. To me, that's an integrity thing, which I'll get to. But these daily disciplines, okay? They give you a purpose, a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Because you know that once you do them, you will feel awake, you will feel alert, you will feel good about yourself. Because you did something for the day. It's like getting your grass cut, cleaning your room, putting laundry away, doing dishes. These small things, they give you a sense of order. Human beings enjoy order, unless you are just chaotic neutral and you love the grossness of being a hoarder or what have you. You're the exception. Sorry. Live your best life. Not for me. And those are what I'm referring to when I talk about discipline. You can take it a step further and you can talk about what I've spoken of before on this channel, which is I maybe want to work out 20% of the time. The other 80%, I just do it and I flip my fuck it switch and do it anyway because it's a part of my routine. It's a part of my daily habits and the things that I know that I should be doing to make myself happy. But again, this is something that you determine for yourself. This is not something I can sit here and say, you should do this. I'm never, I'm always trying to find a line between, or draw a line in the sand rather, between me telling you what to do and me telling you what I do. Everything I'm telling you is coming from my perspective, my mouth, my mind, my viewpoints. And I don't have your existence. I don't live your life. I am not you. You have to decide this shit for yourself. I can't make those decisions. If what I say sounds good to you, try it, but modify it and change it so it works best for you. For me, I work out X amount of days a week. I work out for X amount of hours a week. I do cardio X amount of minutes per day, what have you. And that's my thing. I prep my meals. I eat my meals. I try for X, Y, and Z with my goal sets, and they constantly change, and I incrementally move them forward. That's what I enjoy. That doesn't mean that's what you're going to enjoy. Maybe you need more breaks than me. Maybe you want to have more fun than me. Maybe you want to do things that I don't enjoy. That's fine. Pick what it is for you and build your greatest routine. Develop your disciplines, disciplines that work for you. I just give examples based on what I see a lot of other people doing and what I do, and I take what's best. It's kind of like somebody who's more agnostic but exploring their spirituality, kind of like how I am, and they'll look at the different religions and they'll pick and choose what they like, and then they'll implement that in their own life. With that being said, that leads me to integrity because, well, let's face it, a lot of religions try to preach integrity to their followers because it's usually presented as, hey man, God wouldn't want you to do that, so why would you? What would Jesus do, right? And with integrity, it can be pretty simple and pretty benign a lot of times, but no one's perfect, plain and simple. Moreover, though, uh, one of my favorite movies mentions integrity in it, and that movie is V for Vendetta. Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. Sorry, can't talk about V for Vendetta without saying that quote. Without getting on a tangent about V for Vendetta, in that movie, there are people who are tortured and murdered and just removed from existence because their viewpoints don't fit the narrative of the controlling political party. While this is happening, they are left with nothing. Their clothes, their belongings, their spirit, everything is taken from them, including their lives at one point. But there's one thing that they can hold on to. There's one thing that remains. Even when their life is gone, when their life has been taken from them, there is one thing they can take to the grave with them, and that is their integrity. In that movie, it is referred to as their integrity is they will not bow, they will not take the knee, they will not bend the knee, they will not give the people torturing them what they want, information or what have you. They won't change who they are. In one case, it's a homosexual woman. She will not pretend to be a heterosexual woman just to appease her oppressors. No, no, no. She will remain a homosexual, and she will not give them the satisfaction of breaking her, because she will remain and she will maintain her integrity until she dies, and she did. It's the one thing, integrity is the one thing you can take with you when you die. Not your money, not your legacy. Eventually, your name will be forgotten in the eons of history to come after you have been here. It is not your legacy. There is nothing that remains of you. Nothing. But the one thing you take with you when you die is that those memories of you, before they disperse into existence, into the distant future, is that people will know that you remained with your integrity. You maintained your integrity. And that's the one thing you can take with you when you die. And so, again, in that movie, it was not debasing your beliefs, not shying from your beliefs, maintaining who you are, your values, your principles. I am not talking as something grandiose as that. We live in a first world country here in the United States. We don't have to worry about those kinds of things right now. Who knows where things may or may not go in the future? I certainly don't have an all seeing eye to know. But that half joke aside, when I talk about integrity, I mean things like you see a piece of trash on the ground outside or in your place of business, you pick it up and you throw it away. I mean, if you leave something out that maybe it's not your responsibility to put it away, you do so anyway because you know it's going to help the person whose responsibility it is. And you just want to clean up after yourself. You want to get the door for somebody. You want to say please and thank you. You want to do all of the things that make other people feel good. You want to not fuck people over. I'll give you an example. You want to make sure that you're not taking advantage of somebody who maybe has a distant or fleeting memory. All right, I work with a lot of people above the age of 65, and some of them have issues with their memory, and they'll come in and they'll work with me, they'll train with me, they'll ask me how much they owe. I could tell them any number I want, but I do my damnedest to make sure my records are pristine so I can tell them exactly what they actually owe rather than skim them for $5 here, skim them for $10 there. It would be very easy for me to do that, but I don't. And I would easily get away with it too, but I don't because that shows a lack of integrity. Now, a lot of people are going to come in and say that this is similar to karma. If you do shit like this, then karma will catch up to you. I don't believe in karma. I think karma is predominantly bullshit, especially because there are people doing extraordinarily evil things in this world and they never get brought to justice. Just look at the 2008 housing crisis. None of those people were brought to justice. And they're probably still chilling on their yachts right now. Okay? Karma is bullshit. Karma is not real. However, when you operate with integrity, I do believe two things. I believe that one, if you persist and you are consistently operating with integrity, you will do well in your life. That doesn't mean success in riches. That doesn't mean success in your love life. That doesn't mean success in any of the usual monetary or tangible items. That means that you will be happy with who you are, you will accept yourself, and you will be fulfilled in who you are. You can look back on your life, no matter what point you're at, whether you're 35 or 85, and you can say, yeah, I feel good about how I did things. You operate without regret. When you operate with integrity, you operate without regret. Plain and simple. You don't have to look back and regret what you did. You look back and say, yeah, I did the best I could in that moment. Or maybe I could have done something a little better, but I was coming from a place of love or care or compassion, whatever. You operated in a way that you are not disgraced by. You won't look at yourself and be like, oh, that makes me feel icky, what have you. Now, if you're sociopath and psychopath, guess what? This doesn't apply to you, so you can check out. This doesn't matter. Wait until I chime in about the discipline part. Because sociopaths and psychopaths don't give a fuck about this, personally, but I will say this. If you are a sociopath, if you are a psychopath, and you operate like this, you'll do better. Because people will notice, and they will treat you better. And even if you don't have an ounce of empathy or sympathy in your body, your life will improve because of this. Which, it's funny, so the reason I mentioned that is because you see a lot of these shows, like iZombie or Sherlock Holmes in Elementary, where you see sociopaths and psychopaths become hitmen, but they were leading a fake life as like a salesperson or a mechanic or something, but they were super nice. They were wonderful people. Everybody loved them. They had a loving family and kids. No one had any idea that they were a hitman. And it's because they were acting. They were putting on a facade so they could do very well and achieve good things in their life, even though they don't actually love their partner. They don't actually love their kids. They don't actually give a fuck about their coworkers, but they present a facade that they do. So here's the point in me giving that example. If a complete sociopath can fake that and do better in their life because of it, why wouldn't you, a normal person, try to do the same? It's something to think about. But anyway, you operate with a level of integrity that behooves you. Just like with discipline, you operate with a level of discipline that behooves you. Inherently, all these things that you're doing, even though it's improving the lives of those around you, you're doing it selfishly. Do not try to convince yourself otherwise. You are absolutely doing these things for selfish reasons. You want to lead your best, most fulfilled, and purposeful life. You want to improve yourself. Self-care, self-discipline, and integrity, all these things, they are done so for you selfishly. You do them selfishly to improve your life, and that's okay. You're allowed to be selfish. Because in this particular matter, being selfish is also selfless. If you become better in these ways, being disciplined, having integrity, you will also improve the people's lives around you. It's something that just happens. All right? You shine brighter, and so do those around you. Plain and simple. Now, how does discipline and integrity, how do we bridge those two? Well, if you're operating with integrity every day, I'd say that that's a disciplined action. You're not just willy-nilly rolling a dice on whether or not you're not going to fuck over old Angus with how much money she owes you, okay? That's a disciplined action. You're not tempted by a lack of integrity. You're not tempted to fuck someone over because you do it every day. It's the same thing as you're not tempted to skip a workout. You're not tempted to stay up too late and sleep in and whatever. You're not tempted to fuck up your normal routine. You maintain your discipline, you maintain your integrity. They are very much aligned and run parallel to one another, particularly because they are both actionable things you can engage with. Now, why is this important? Well, like I said, with the whole travel for 2 years, get bored of it, then what? It's something that during that whole then what portion, where you aren't sure what your next goal is, what your next dream is, it's something that keeps you going and keeps you from getting depressed. I'll give you an example. Dorian Yates was a champion bodybuilder in the 90s. He won 6 Mr. Olympias back to back to back. And he retired because he had too many injuries. He had torn way too many muscles, and he couldn't continue competing. In fact, his 6th Mr. Olympia win was contested that maybe he should not have won because he had so many injuries that it was starting to affect his physique. And that's why he effectively retired after that, because it was one of the most disputed Mr. Olympia victories of all time. Now, when interviewed after the fact, years after the fact, Dorian told the interviewers how depressed he was because he had no purpose in life. He had no drive. He had no ambition. He had accomplished everything he set out to accomplish. He became the best in the world at what he was trying to do. And then when he retired, he was no longer there. And he was in his 30s. So imagine achieving everything you've ever imagined, your wildest dreams. You achieve all of that. And then you're done at 30, 35, 40. Now what? Well, a lot of people, they have kids. A lot of people, they have a mortgage. A lot of people, they want to get to the next promotion. They run through the rat race. They climb the corporate ladder, what have you. Those things, now, I don't mean to shit on children and family and your hard work at your job, but those things are distracting you from what you really want more often than not. Yes, you want to be a good parent to your child. Yes, you want to be a good employee to the company that you work for. But is that really the company you want to work for? Is that really, yes, you want to take care of your child and be a good parent, but do you really want to be wiping your child's ass every day? No, you probably would rather be doing something else. Now, I'm not saying you should, but my point is simple. When you have other things going on in your life that prevent you from doing what you want to do, it's easy to forget that you'd like to be doing those things. Now, a child in particular is an 18-year commitment at least, usually 25 or 30 in today's day and age. And so you have to find a way to remain happy throughout those years so that you don't become a shit parent. So you maintain your integrity and your disciplines throughout those years as a parent, rather than get distracted by the fact that you're tired that your newborn woke you up 6 times during the night. so that you're not distracted by, well, your boss said you had to get this report in by Thursday when it wasn't supposed to be for another 2 weeks, and now you got to work late hours at night. So you forgo going to the gym, you drink too much coffee so you can't sleep, you're so stressed you can't sleep, da da da. Your integrity for day to day, you just kind of let things go in the house and leave it to your spouse to clean it up. You throw trash off to the side of the road and expect the public cleaning workers to get it, as opposed to you just waiting and throwing it away when you get home. What have you? Maybe you're stressed for money, so you kind of nickel and dime people so that you can get a little extra. Whatever. Don't let your daily disciplines and your basal integrity fall to the wayside because you're distracted by I mean, a kid in your life. It's a very necessary distraction. Like, you're going to be paying attention to your kid. You're going to be doing the things you need to do for your job. I get it. But the reason why it's called discipline, the reason why it's called integrity, the reason those things are defined as is because they are quite virtuous. Virtue is not something that you come into easily. Virtue is something that you have to put effort into, usually a great effort. So to remain virtuous in these two items, integrity and discipline, you have to maintain them even when things are not going all that great. But in addition, before this, I was talking about when you didn't have these distractions. I didn't talk about the kids. I didn't talk about the stressful job. I didn't talk about that. I was talking about your day to day when you had nothing to do. When everything was going well, you can still get lazy, lay in bed, and masturbate all day. When you have nothing going on, you're single, your job is good, you don't have to stress about anything. So it goes both ways. Your life can be complete and utter chaos. Your life can have nothing going on, everything is stable and great, and you can still skimp out on your daily disciplines and maintaining your integrity. You can skimp out on those things on either end of the spectrum. And many things in life you'll find it's a range from one extreme to the other. There's a spectrum for this shit. And if you let that slip, things are going to start to go not so great for you. And you're not going to enjoy yourself. Now, like I said before, you've achieved your dream, and then what? Okay, let's take just the other end of the spectrum. Your kid graduates college. They're out living on their own. They meet their future spouse. They don't need you anymore. Yes, you're still a parent, and maybe grandkids will come along in the near future. But what are you supposed to do with your life when you're not with the grandkids in 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 10 years? What are you supposed to do with your life? This is the then what. You hit that top promotion. You're the CFO, CEO of the company, or you're the top regional manager, and you have no desire to go further up the corporate ladder. You have your dream job. You work the hours you want to work. You're not overworking. You're not stressed. Okay, now what? Oh, travel. Okay, you travel for a couple years. Then what? Then what? It's the same thing. Whether you got there through chaos, through hardship, through adversity, or you got there and it was a yellow brick road. I know exactly where to go. I know exactly how it's going to be. And there is bare minimum stress. I feel good. It's a straight shot to success. In both of those cases, you have that question of, then what? Now what? And in my personal opinion, as somebody who is very middle of the line, I'm not stupidly successful. I'm not stupidly rags to riches, came from nothing. I'm very middle of the line. I have wonderfully supportive parents. I don't come from poverty, but I don't come from supreme upper class wealth. I'm pretty middle of the line. I've done both of these things. Things are going very well, I get very lazy. Things are going very poorly, I get very lazy in my other shit. The idea is I let that shit fall to the wayside when things get too busy or things go too well. And I've noticed that about myself. And that's why I want to talk about it here. Because a lot of people don't realize they're doing it. I didn't realize I was doing it. Only through introspectively analyzing what I am going through and have gone through have I realized that I used to do that. And that I probably still do it. You know, right now, I'm looking over in my room. Bed's not made. Laundry's folded and done, but not put away. I gotta dust a few things. This fucking mic is disgusting with how much dust is on it. There's things that I still need to do. I'm not perfect. And neither are you. No one is. There's always a greater level that you can strive toward. Because time isn't stagnant and it keeps going forward. Linearly. Constantly changing. And so are you. You are constantly changing. The factors in your life, the environment in your life, the people in your life that come and go. Constantly changing. So you may have the most perfect routine today, and it might last you 6 months, 6 years. One day, that perfect routine isn't going to be perfect, and you're going to have to change something. So yes, Jocko was right. Discipline equals freedom. But freedom itself is a responsibility. How are you going to use your freedom? I'm free to go shit in my yard if I want. Is that going to make me happy? Might make me laugh. Might make my neighbor go, what the fuck is he doing? But it's not going to make me fulfilled. It's not going to give me purpose in my day to go take a dump in my yard. That's a hilarious example, but it's true. I am free to do that if I want to. Discipline equals freedom, yes. Integrity is something that allows you to look back on what you've done with your life and not regret it. Period. All right? Now, there's going to be some neutrality to that. If I go shit in my yard, it's not hurting anybody. It might scar anybody who sees it, but other than that, it's kind of a funny thing you can look back on. Doesn't mean you're going to regret it. You might. You might get poison ivy on your asshole. That would be regretful. But the idea, again, discipline can lead you to freedom, and integrity can take you to that freedom point and not have regrets. Okay? And maintaining those two throughout that phase of then what is what is going to keep you day to day feeling good and less depressed. All right? To finish my story about what Dorian Yates did earlier, that Olympian that I mentioned, Mr. Olympia caliber bodybuilder, he maintained his exercise routines. He maintained working at the gym that he owned, training people. He stayed in the industry. He stayed doing things. He continued doing what he enjoyed. And eventually he evolved into something completely different. Now he's a fucking yogi who lives in Spain with his girlfriend, and he bikes up mountains for fun. He's nowhere near the hulking 285, 300-pound muscle monster that he was in the 90s. He's maybe 185, 190 pounds, more focused on if his body can function without being in pain, whether or not he can enjoy his day. And what does he do to enjoy his day? A lot of the same stuff he did when he was bodybuilding, just not to that extreme. He does it because it makes him feel good. He maintains a semblance of those routines, and that's a good example of how, for the better part of a decade, for I think he said 11 years, 12 years, he had the perfect routine to be the best bodybuilder in the world. But when that was no longer the goal, his routine had to change because he was no longer striving for that goal or that dream. Things change. People change. Your environment and circumstances change. And it is the integrity and the discipline that bridge together to make it so that you can get from point A to B and segue and transition without too much adverse side effects, without too many bumps in the road. You can avoid that depression of, well, now what? Then what? I don't know what to do with my life. If you keep those daily disciplines and maintain your integrity, you don't have to worry about that as much because it will come. You will figure out what you enjoy and you will figure out what comes next. You'll figure out what comes after the kids. You'll figure out what comes after the promotion. You'll figure out what comes after you become financially independent and no longer have a mortgage or are beholden to anybody financially. You'll figure it out. But don't get lazy. Don't get distracted. When things are going well, don't get lazy. When things are going really, really chaotically, don't get distracted. Maintain the routine as best as you can. And I promise you'll feel more purposeful and fulfilled in your day-to-day life. But again, I am not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to present ideas that I find interesting. This is DudeCast TV, where I'm a dude and I talk about some shit. That's all this is. If you like it, try it. If not, ignore me and hit the dislike button. I couldn't give a shit. Thank you for listening. I've been Norman. You've been the DudeCast. Have a great one.
div, he's a div, she's a div. We're all divs, hey, I'm a div, he's a div,